We're thrilled to be here with all of you. We're going to start with a short video that's going to tell you how the PeaceJam program started. Cue the video, please.
It was a simple idea, putting young people together with Nobel Peace Prize winners. On this spot in the spring of 1994, I saw 4 young Latino males carrying guns. These guys were my neighbors. These guys lived across the street from me for years. I said, hey guys, come over here. I want to talk to you for a second. They came over and said, what's up? I said, what are you doing with a gun? They said, well, we have a business. I said, well, what do you need the gun for? They said, to protect our turf. And I said, to have a business, you got to be pretty smart. And I haven't seen you guys go to school in 3 years. So I asked them a question. Who's the President of the United States? They said, we don't know. And we don't care, because the President of the United States doesn't represent our interests. We tripped over the topic of South Africa, and these young men went off. They went, oh yeah, Archbishop Desmond Tutu is this little guy, and he stood up in front of the guns of apartheid. He's so bad, he went to jail. They did everything, and he never carried a gun. And I said, why don't you be a little bit more like Desmond Tutu and not carry a gun? So I had this idea to put young people together with Nobel Peace Prize winners in an education program that was based in service learning, but I didn't know where to start. I had no one to turn to until I remembered this woman, and so I started talking to her about it every day, driving her crazy, saying, Nobel Peace laureates and youth. Kids and Nobel Peace Prize winners. Kids and Nobel Peace Prize winners. Kids and...
You would not stop.
I probably drove her crazy.
And talking. You did. And he just was so excited about the idea that finally I said, well, you know what? We put the plan together. We contacted the Chief of Staff for the Dalai Lama, and he said yes.
Yes, come to India, meet the Dalai Lama, and present him with your idea. So I had $1.79 in my bank account at the time, being a poor person, and I was going around to my friends saying, hey, could you lend me $10, $20 so I could buy a round-trip ticket to India? Because I have a meeting with the Dalai Lama. And they laughed in my face.
Everybody laughed. No one believed we had this meeting, but somehow we were able to convince enough people to lend us the money so that we could fly to India, meet with the Dalai Lama. He loved the idea, and he said, yes, I will do this.
And he wanted us also to contact other Nobel Peace Prize winners who were friends of his, so young people could study these other Nobel Peace Prize winners to get a different perspective on the world.
So we ended up back here in Denver, Colorado, cold calling Nobel Peace Prize winners.
Calling long-distance information in Cape Town, South Africa. Can you hook me up with Archbishop Desmond Tutu? And they said, man, you're crazy. If somebody as flawed and average as us can get a program up and running like this, imagine what you can do.
I was having a good day.
So can we go to the next slide? There, thank you. So now it's 17 years later, and over 1 million young people around the world have participated in the PeaceJam program from 39 different countries.
And these young people have created millions and millions of global call action projects for the problems they have in their own communities. They're learning to be self-sufficient, to take matters into their own hands. This is quite remarkable, and you'll hear more about this in a second.
And now 13 Nobel Peace Prize winners are sitting on the PeaceJam board. That is our board.
And while I enjoyed the introduction, 7 Nobel Peace Prize winners have nominated me. Now, think about it. Have nominated me for the Nobel Peace Prize. They also nominated my wife, Dawn Engle, and the entire PeaceJam program. So we are pleased and frightened by that.
So, how did all of this happen? We were really just 2 nobodies with a big idea. I mean, I'm a Republican economist from Capitol Hill, and he's a punk rock musician and artist from Detroit, Michigan. But it happened because ideas matter. That's what we've discovered. Ideas really do matter, and that's what PeaceJam does. PeaceJam takes young people, helps them to look at a problem in their community, and then turns their big idea into a reality. PeaceJam teaches social innovation. PeaceJam is creating a whole new generation of social innovators, and that is our mission.
And then to consider that ideas really do matter. There's a friend of ours in Cape Town, South Africa, a gentleman named Archbishop Desmond Tutu. 30-some-odd years ago, and actually quite longer than that, he decided that, you know, something's really wrong here, and we need to do something about this. He envisioned a South Africa where everyone was equal rights for everyone. And everybody, all these people talk smack about the guy, they talk smack about Nelson Mandela. They went ahead and pursued this impossible dream. If anybody remembers the song, These Are the Days of Miracles, raise your hand. Okay, that was what that was about. And eventually, they came through with it. They did it. And Mandela got out of jail. Tutu was there, and Tutu said, here's our president, fresh out of the box. And there he was. And the ideas do matter. And if he can do this, so can you.
Ideas do matter. Aung San Suu Kyi of Burma had the idea that she could change things in her country, which was controlled by one of the most brutal and ruthless dictatorships on the whole entire planet, and that she could do that nonviolently, without force, just from the power of her ideas and truth that she was going to speak. She spent 18 long and lonely years under house arrest, but she would not let go of this impossible idea. And now, today, because of the moral authority of her cause, and because of the inspiration that she's been to people, leaders all over the world, things are changing. Things are changing in Burma.
And then you take the idea, a very large idea by this, my buddy, Oscar Arias, former president of Costa Rica. That's kind of weird to name drop like that, but this is, you know, we've gotten falling down drunk enough to consider ourselves friends. But anyway, this is back in the 80s. The Kremlin and the White House were running a proxy war through Central America. The 5 presidents of Central America did not enjoy this in the least. They were pushed aside because they were little people. And they decided, and the little people decided, well, maybe we should have to do something with this. But the Kremlin and the White House were very, very concerned about this because Reagan had to turn to his most important advisor in all things in world security, and he said, well, Mommy, who is this pipsqueak in Costa Rica? And so they ended up with that, and the 5 presidents of Central America gathered, wrote their own peace accords, turned their back on 2 of the biggest superpowers in the world, and today they continue. And as you know, there's more problems in Central America today, and they have much more to do.
So with our year-long programming and our award-winning service learning curriculum, which has received awards nationally recognized for excellence in service learning, our programming is kindergarten through college, and we're also in the juvenile justice system. And we have many regional peace summits every year where young people get to work side by side with the Nobel laureates who they've been studying. What we teach young people is that ideas do matter, and we teach them how to turn those ideas into projects to bring change to their corner of the world.
And speaking of ideas, who in the room's a business person? Could you raise your hand? And you know that positive cash flow is really important, right? But one of the things you have to do, and sadly happening on a large level, you have to keep your costs down. Now, this goes across the board for any business, it really does. I mean, if you think about it. These kids from Ponderosa High School in Colorado, which is a great place to bring your business, by the way, move your companies from California to Colorado, thank you. Anyway, let's plug my state and John and Hickenlooper, who fired me. Anyway, where did I go? Oh yeah, we're talking about energy conservation and what happens, what we do with it, and there's so much talk about saving the world and ecology. And the kids from Ponderosa High School, for their service project, they built a machine, and it was a Back to the Future machine, so they could find out in the future how to conserve energy. And so that was pretty amazing that they were scientific enough to do that. But after they came back From thousands and thousands of years ahead, they came back and said, we have the answer, and we can save you money. And I said, okay, McFly, what is it? They work in they live in they go to a school. There is, they leave on the lights, the computers, and all the rest of it. These young people went around to all the students in their school, the administrators, the school board, and said, if we turn off the lights and everybody gets together, shut down the computers, get the pilot lights off, and all the rest of it, they saved that school $60,000 in the first year. As a business person, do you like that? Okay. Then, after 4 years, they saved $300K. Now, if this is smart thinking, and this is some adult thinking going on, it's amazing. And they are really the model for the new schools that we have to pull together and save energy, conserve. And this is just one portion of PeaceJam.
And another example is on the screen, the young people from the Chautauqua Learn and Serve Charter School in Florida. They are differently abled, and they decided that they were going to do a project to have access to transportation, a huge issue for them. And so if we could go to the next slide, there is a picture of their trolley. And they got this trolley, and then they got the government locally to provide many more trolleys. And then they trained the senior citizens in their community how to use the trolleys too, so that they also had access to transportation. And then they went to other communities in Florida where there were people who were challenged in terms of transportation needs, and they trained them as well. And then they started speaking at conferences around the world. So their big idea was that they wanted to be the servers, not the served. They thought that they had something to offer and they could help others. And they become a true inspiration for thousands. And then in the next slide, we have the young people from the Youth United program in New Mexico. They were really concerned about the fact that so many of their peers were dropping out of college, high school, and so many of their friends could not read or write very well, and so they started a program called Hooked on Books. And in the summer intensive program, they were able to bring the reading scores up for the average of the group that they worked with by 1 grade level in just 2 weeks. It was very successful, so then they replicated it, and they repeated it over and over again in their community, and then they decided to go one step further and to go into the prisons. So they started a program in the prisons where they would work with inmates and teach them how to read and have them read books about just children's books. And then they would make an audio tape of them reading this book to their children, and then they would give, the children of the inmates would receive a book and a tape of their parent who was incarcerated reading that book to them. And it's just a wonderful tool to teach learning and encourage learning in 2 generations. The kids hold on to these books and these tapes and listen to them over and over again. It's a powerful idea, it's a simple idea, and it came from a bunch of kids in middle school.
And just to bring up one more service project that I thought was truly amazing, I was speaking with a gentleman, Mark, are you out there? A gentleman who works in refugee camps around the world. And one of the service projects that in Dharamsala, India, the young Tibetans, below Dharamsala, there is an area that is for the untouchables. They did not have running water. They had the waste from the top of Dharamsala ran down in through their community. So the young people of Tibet, the Peace Jammers there, for their global call to action project, they ran water down the hill to these people. They dug, this is no puff piece service project, this is a real deal. They dug all the way down, sent the pipes down 300 yards. They dug up the road to bring the water into the community, set up 3 taps, and that water, fresh water, changed the untouchables' lives, and I'm really proud of that.
So at PeaceJam, we're creating a whole new generation of social innovators, and they're learning from some of the greatest social innovators on our planet, our Nobel Peace Prize laureates. If we could have you cue the video that's next. Yes?
We have to move on, and I apologize for that sincerely, but what's one thing that people can do to help support your initiative, your effort?
Well, we need to upgrade our website. We need updated computer equipment and cell phones and a better online system for delivering our program. We need funding to expand our program around the world, and we need digital support for a new film series that we've created. So that's specifically what we need.